Zenless Zone Zero released a few days ago, and with it came with a plethora of mixed reviews. A lot of people seem to be liking the game, at the same time, a lot of people seem to have bad opinion about the game. I'm pretty sure all of you have heard of the typical stuff like, I hate the TV system, it's losing immersion in the story when you put random TV stuff in between. I wanna get to the combat because it was focused as a combat game, it was marketed as a combat game as well, so where is the combat? I wanna get more into the combat immediately rather than having to deal with all the yapping. But I'm not here to bore you guys with that. Today, I want to talk about something which I noticed recently. It's regarding team building. How to build a proper team and how efficient it is. I feel like there is a big problem in that system. In Zenless Zone Zero, a lot of free-to-play players might struggle with this even at the later points of the game when you have a lot of different characters. Just like how it is with most other gacha games, you have different elements, right? Different characters have different roles: attack, support, buffer, etc. Pretty standard things in all gacha games. This game has the same things too, but this game has something which is different from typical gacha games. If you go to any character and click on skills and click on their core mechanic, which is this tape looking thing over here, it will tell you there's an additional ability which every character has that activates if and only if you have a same attribute in the team or somebody from the same faction on the team. One another character. So apart from the character you have, there should be another character of the same attribute or faction in the same team. This additional ability is not that great for certain characters, but for some characters, it's busted. This is where I think we'll have issues, especially for free-to-play players in the future, because it's not that hard to match with somebody from the same attribute. Yes, right? It's not that hard as long as we have the characters, right? But what if that character who we are trying to match with doesn't go well with that character? Then you're forced to match with somebody else or potentially from the same faction, which might be hard because free-to-play players don't have every character. The perfect example over here is Ellen is the limited character right now. Ellen is a limited character and she's really strong. She's very strong. But if you go to her skills and look at her core gameplay, when she has another character of the same attribute or faction, her damage is increased by a total of 30% when she's attacking. That's a significant boost in damage. This is pretty busted in my opinion. There is no conditions, all she has to do is keep damaging, and the damage goes up to 30%. Now, it's probably hard to find someone with the same faction, but coincidentally, when her banner released, they released Sokaku with her. So, which kinda added up, which kinda made sense because Sokaku is ice, Ellen is ice. So you have already two players of the same attribute in there. That is good. But what happens then? You need a third ice character, otherwise your third character's core ability will not be active. Coincidentally, you have Lycagon. He's also an ice character. But why? The problem here is he's a 5-star. He's a 5-star, she's a 5-star. So the chance of a free-to-play player having both these 5-stars are insanely rare, especially because this girl is limited. Now, here's an even worse example. Look at Nicole. Nicole is ether element. There is not a single character in the game which is ether element. Now, people can argue that she's from the Cunning Hairs faction and we already have these two characters for free. But here's the problem. Her additional ability boosts ether damage. There is no other ether character in the game so far, so it's kind of a waste even if you do that. And the initial team of those three, it's not that great. You want to get away from that as soon as possible. There's not much synergy going on there, so you kind of want away from that. But here's where this thing comes into play. The next limited character which is going to release is supposedly Ether. So that she might work with Nicole. But here's the problem again. It's a limited character. Free-to-play players cannot pull every limited character. And I feel like this game is going to focus a lot on multiple teams, more than other gacha games. So, which in turn also puts more stress onto your resources. Free-to-play players cannot make like 2-3 teams that easily. Not only are you lacking the characters, you're lacking the materials too. So I feel like this big portion I feel like it's going to make or break late game for a lot of free-to-play players. Because either you're going to be missing a character which goes well with the team, or you're going to be missing one member from the faction, or the fact that you're forcefully trying to put a character into your team just so that you get the additional ability of your main DPS. If you take Nicole, for example, she boosts ether damage by 25%. That is not a small amount, that's a lot. For an ether main DPS, that's a big chunk of damage. So this is not something which you can just ignore too. I know some characters have it pretty bad. Like if you look at Billy's core mechanic is pretty bad. It's alright, it's not that great. Like, he does more damage on his ultimate. You rarely use your ultimate. You don't use your ultimate as often. So it's not that huge. But if you take Ellen, for example, which is the same example I mentioned before, this is a 30% no condition damage buff, which is available all the time. That is huge. And there is no guarantee that every new character that's coming out will have a complementary 4-star or an A rank unit, which is of the same element accompanying the same banner. We don't know that for sure. So this is where Zenless Zone Zero has a big problem. Players are going to struggle with this, especially free-to-play players. I mean, this doesn't affect whales at all. This does not affect whales in the slightest. Free-to-play players are going to get affected by this even in the late game, because you won't be able to pair the characters you like with each other, because some characters don't work with each other, or some characters do not have the synergy with each other, the faction synergy or the additional ability synergy, and some additional abilities are broken, as you can see. So I don't know how I feel. Let me know what you guys think about this. I personally don't like this sort of thing because it restricts free-to-play players even more than they already are. Free-to-play players are already very restricted in terms of what teams they can play, how they can build. But this, I feel like, restricts them even more. So please let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. And yeah, let me know how you're feeling about the game so far. With that being said, hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Smash that like button and consider subscribing to my channel. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace. 1, 2, 3, 4.